Uh, 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 uh.
Make it sound like a porn movie when you do that.
That's you, your dirty ass mind. Going with the beat, you sicko.
To the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week. Twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Melinda and I should be back on for this weekend, talking about Nintendo trying to sell you an alarm clock, talking about a new change for Halo, and more. Go ahead and check it out this weekend right there at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Chris Lardieri and I talked about NFL Week 6, and is it time for your fantasy team to bench Josh Allen? We go over that and more on this week's Inside Sports Fantasy Football, also wherever you get your podcasts. Also, as well, of course, Joe Soros here. He's LakersBall.com's Ox1947. Go ahead and join the conversation there at LakersBall.com. Plus, also, he owns a company you need to support today, Simblades. Simblades with a Y.com. Our good friends, Empire Jeff TV, Lakers in 5, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Also, as well, go check out the Lakerholics crew, Lakerholics.com, including Laker Tom, who must be giddy right now because the Lakers just won their first preseason game. And also, as well, Jamie Sweet and Michael Heinrich at Lakerholics.com. Also, of course, Stone Hansen, who was on earlier. Please support him today by following him on Twitter at @report_court. Don't forget the legend, who was already on here this week with some great NBA knowledge. And, of course, Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner with John Costa. Hopefully, John will be here sometime tonight. We'll see. That depends on if Joe does a nightcap. He may be there for that, or he may be here for the postgame. He's got a busy evening, so if he can, he's welcome to stop by, and he knows it. Talked to him earlier. Go ahead and support his channels today, Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. And speaking of supporting, please like and subscribe. Subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when we go live. When you hit that bell, ting, ting, and you go ahead and make sure you subscribe to us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Also, as well, if you're a member, if you become a member, and you are a member, that's just $2.99 a month. And you get emojis, badges, and you get special notes on when we're going to go live on the air with special shows coming right at you ahead of time before I schedule it out for everyone else. And you get the other perks, like you guys were the first ones, the members, to get, of course, the Mr. McMahon review on Netflix. And you guys are getting our season previews as far as our projections. Our panelists are sending one in day by day. I'm getting you a new one every day, and it's only for members right now. Members for $2.99 a month indeed. So please go ahead, like, subscribe, become a member today. It all helps the bottom line for us right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Well, the Lakers, despite the chagrin of LeBron James flying to Milwaukee, not understanding that the Crypto.com arena has some renovations to do, plus the fact that Milwaukee, in a home-and-home series, came to Crypto.com last year in preseason, so you have to reciprocate in kind. That's the way home-and-homes work. So today, the Lakers were playing at the Fiserv Forum, I think it's called, right there in Milwaukee. And I will tell you what, after a good start to the first quarter, the Lakers jumping out to an early lead. Unfortunately, second quarter was not as kind as far as some of the reserves coming in and just not being able to keep the lead as is. Third quarter, back and forth until Bronny James came in the game, and the Lakers almost immediately just looked disheveled. They looked disorganized. Bronny was absolutely terrible and abysmal shooting once again, and the Lakers, with that crew around him, fell to a double-digit deficit. But then he was taken out of the game, and Quincy Olivari was put into the game. And the game took off from there. And the game became fun to watch. We were enjoying it on playback, all the VIPs on playback were enjoying it with us because Quincy Olivari, Dalton Connect, Maxwell Lewis, Chris Castleton, and Armel Traore, they led a charge to come back from 15 points down to put the Lakers in a lead that they gained control of. And thank God Bronny didn't come back in the game because the Lakers held off Milwaukee with a 107-102 victory, getting their first victory of the preseason. Here today to discuss what he liked and what he didn't like. Good man indeed. Again, Oxide247 at LakersBall.com, and also the company he owns, Simblades, for your synthetic turf needs in Southern California. Simblades with a Y.com. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, great to have you here. I think tonight served as an indication to BTS, who is in our pregame, and to everyone out there who still has hopes right now for Bronny's immediate future, that having him in the game is a deficit for the Lakers because he's just not ready. Go ahead, Joe.
Mm-hmm. I keep hearing that word, not ready. And
I don't think he'll ever be ready, but that's just me.
Yeah. Let's talk about the guys that actually matter right now.
Yes.
Olivari, Traore. I would say even Goodwin had the better showing tonight, even though he didn't have any points. But it was just refreshing to see an ending that didn't collapse. And he had guys making shots, and Milwaukee looked like a bunch of Bronnies out there, which helped. But it's not an accident, folks. When you put number 9 in there, things don't go well, and they have never gone well. And it will continue to be that for the remaining of his, whatever you want to call this, stint in the NBA. It's an insult to the Olivaris and the Traores, to be honest with you, the fact that they don't have guaranteed contracts, yet there's a player that's not even 1/10 of their talent getting that kind of money. And that's a sad commentary. And a game like this only reiterates that. We were joking while we were watching and how we were excited about a preseason game win. It's more of the win. The winning does something, folks. It doesn't matter. Winning in a practice sometimes means something, because winning breeds more winning. Doesn't matter if it doesn't count. Not everything has to count. Sometimes you gotta do well in the prep area and win there so that it's easier to win when it matters. I think that's a lost art. It's a lost art in sports because of fear. And when you're constantly in fear, that's when things always happen to you. You know this from experience. Everyone has friends that are always having some kind of ailment, some kind of broken bone, some kind of thing happen at school, or something happens at work, and everybody knows someone like that. And the reason why those people who always have things on them like that is they probably live in fear. They probably live in some kind of mindset that's always about, I'm going to get in trouble or I'm going to get hurt. And it manifests itself. So this is the same thing, but in a positive area. Manifest the wins. Make the wins reality so that when you start the real stuff, you're already conditioned to that. If you're going to waste your time, and luckily J.J. Redick didn't waste a lot of time. He could have ruined this game if he had kept the bad guys in there long enough, but he didn't. I think he saw value in actually competing towards the end, and he was rewarded. And now you have some guys that might get a look somewhere. Might not be the Lakers, but they'll get a look. A lot of ex-Laker bench guys that are playing in the NBA. And for us, we get to enjoy an evening where we see some nice basketball, some nice shots go in, and a win. And that's never bad. That's never a bad thing. So I'm very pleased with how things went tonight. I actually thought this was a loss just because Senior I made such a fuss today, and we hammered him pretty good today. I'm not going to continue to do that here because I want to stay in the good graces of the win. But the Lakers came to Milwaukee and showed up and won, and that's all we ask as fans. At least me being a fan.
Let's go back to what happened earlier today. And once again, the Lakers do win in preseason action with their first preseason win, 107 and 102. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Joe, early in the game, minutes restrictions aside, Max Christie providing some offense with 2 out of 2 from the 3-point line, and Gabe Vincent also giving you 8 points as well on the perimeter. Those two have been focused on by a lot of the Lakers fans for various reasons. By us here, we've been focusing on Christie's growth, and that word is dependent on how you see it. Some thinking it more than others. Gabe Vincent coming back from the knee injury, needing to provide that veteran, stability coming off the bench. What were your thoughts on the limited number of minutes that were put out there for Gabe Vincent and Max Christie? Go ahead, Joe. You're on mute. I got you now.
Sorry. I was very happy watching Gabe perform tonight. He looked healthy. He looked like he had a bounce in his step. I thought it was fair minutes for a game like this. As far as Max Christie, he didn't butcher his stat line, but he did make a couple turnovers that made you realize that there's a certain way I think they're trying to test in terms of how he plays. That's probably not going to work.
He's an off-ball player.
He's going to have to be an off-ball player. If he wants to be productive, he's going to have to get the spots, and he's going to have to be very, very, very intelligent in the basketball IQ area to get to those spots. And of course, he's got to make those spots work for him in terms of made shots. How he performs on defense is also another thing. The only issue is he's still kind of skinny and kind of frail. Let's hope that the look is not going to be how the strength is. Sometimes you'll be surprised. Some guys that are small or at least lanky can be strong naturally. They got that country strong thing going. The Max Christie experiment will be determined on off-ball shooting and one-on-one defense and hopefully team defense to where he doesn't get lost between screens and also players that are bigger than him. He's going to have to identify in those screens when he's being stopped by or screened by larger players versus smaller players versus strong players versus quick players. He's going to have to determine that decision and get used to that as the games keep going. If he can't, adjust to that on a game-to-game basis, he will not be in the rotation, in my opinion, after the All-Star break. And that's what I've predicted. I predicted that if he keeps playing that way, which he is, he's making mistakes in areas he shouldn't be making, then he's likely going to be out of the rotation. Because at that point, I'm feeling very strong that Dalton Connect is going to play. You're going to have Jackson Hayes that's available, and it's very likely that the Lakers are probably going to have to acquire somebody, probably someone from the buyout area that will probably be a regular at worst. They're going to get a buyout guy if they don't do a trade. That's almost guaranteed. Who that is? Probably someone that could spell Max Christie. And then they'll put Max Christie in if they have to, if there's a major injury and things like that. So that's kind of how I feel with Christie. Unless he does a 180 and absolutely rakes, I just don't see it right now.
One of those players that could replace Max Christie in the rotation, if he's not there already, is Dalton Connect. 8 rebounds tonight. Looked a little rough as far as the stroke is concerned. As far as the end result, it still looks good leaving his hand. So again, it's just about finding that rhythm for him. And at times, Joe, it did look rough a couple times, but there were some other times, Joe, when he was the best player out on the floor with all those reserves out there in the fourth quarter.
There's no doubt Dalton Connect is an NBA player, and he will be an NBA player. Whether he turns into Sasha Vujacic or Bogdanovich, is yet to be determined.
Yeah.
That there is no doubt that he is going to have a career in the NBA, but we don't know if he's going to be the guy that's going to make the shots. He's absolutely going to be a problem if he hits shots on a regular basis. 40% three-point shooter. This guy will get a big contract from that because he seems to have a knack of being in the place where the ball is. That's not something you can teach. That's just instincts. So he already has it. He had 8 rebounds. Honestly, I think 6 of those, he just happened to be where the ball bounced. And that you cannot buy. And that is something the Lakers desperately need, especially if they're getting it from the small forward position, or if Connect decides to be, or if JJ decides to put him at the 2 in replacement of Austin Reeves. And that is something we're going to be talking about too, I think, where if Dalton Connect is indeed a first-team all-rookie player, there might be a chance where he may start before the end of the year is done, so that they can bring Austin off the bench. And Austin off the bench, I think, would serve this team really well, because now you're not dead in the water in the second quarters and the fourth quarters when, let's say, you have a lead and you need to bring someone in to replace the starters. You're not going to have a heart attack about maybe somebody out there that can't shoot or can't kind of control the tempo of the game. You know, Reeves is not the best ball handling player in the league, but he's got the ability to get to the lane and draw contact and make the shot and get and get an and one. We saw him do that a lot. I remember 2 years ago. Wasn't as much last year, but it was still there. So it's a finding out process right now. It's what it is. It's going to have to be found out here. And the Lakers are going to have to rely on AD and LeBron to probably carry a lot of this the first month or so that the Lakers can win and develop and find out who they're likely going to have to rely on in terms of rotation by February, March.
Before we get to the kids that turned this game around, Joe, once Bronny sat down, I want to go ahead and talk about some of the guys that were playing that started the game with, of course, LeBron and AD playing limited minutes, of course, but Rui Hachimura in limited minutes. It's funny because in that first game where LeBron and AD weren't there, he truly struggled. But in the games that he's been paired alongside LeBron and AD, he looks so much smoother, so much more comfortable, and so much more effective for the Lakers out there. Your thoughts on Rui and how he's progressed, and do you think he can take that needed next step this season?
I don't know if I want. I don't know what. I think Rui is who he is, and I think he's going to stay who he is. Maybe he's a little bit better if he can handle a little bit of contact down low. That would help. That would be probably the biggest improvement I would want him to have. He shoots relatively well, shot well today, shot well from 3, made 2 out of 5 shots, played 24 minutes and scored 14 points. It was pretty productive. If he does that, imagine if he's played, let's say, 28 minutes a game and had 16 points to 17 points a game. He's serving this team well at that point. He's doing really, really well. The impact of his scoring, the impact of his game is, I think, just a role player. It's just a role player doing the little things. A role player that is covering the scoring in areas so that the starters don't have to, or the main stars don't have to always score. So if you have LeBron who makes 25 points, let's say AD gets 22, between them they have 47, right? And then if you have Rui getting 17 points, you have Austin getting 14, 15 points, D'Angelo getting 18 points. That's I think a good balance between 5 guys on a night in and night in basis. The issue is there 1 or 2 guys off the bench that can give us double digits as well and also perform well on defense? It's gonna be a process here to see what who comes out of the muck.
Yes, Corbina, in his first day on ESPN, Shams Charania reported. In fact, he was all over the place. I think it must be in the contract that he signed and all the other ESPN NBA personalities. They must ad nauseum talk about the Lakers on ESPN. You could tell they hate doing it, especially Bontemps talking so much about the Lakers. But Shams did mention that the Lakers do supposedly have a keen interest in acquiring a big sooner rather than later. So we'll see if that matriculates out. Again, for what assets, I don't know. But Danny Ainge is rumored to be saying Walker Kessler might be on the marketplace. I don't know if that's your deal or not. It's up to you guys out there. Talked about the Portland bigs and all that. So we'll see. I mean, we do need help rebounding, Joe. It was clear and evident tonight. There were several offensive rebounds given up by the Lakers, which easily, with the right individuals in the right places, could have been prevented. But rebounding will still be a key for this team going forward this season, Joe.
Not in the first half. Not in the first half. They were getting almost every miss. They weren't allowing second chance points in the first half, mainly. Where it became a problem is when number 9 came in, because you were basically playing 4-on-5. But I wasn't upset with how they were rebounding today. Connect was at the right place at the right time, and that was an extremely encouraging sequence that we saw the majority of the night. 8 rebounds for Connect is a pretty good number, especially when you're not shooting well. That's how you cover the deficiency in one part of your game and then enhance the other. It is.
Go ahead.
It is. The stuff that happened tonight, some of the little things I was very, very happy seeing. And I think JJ Redick has shown maybe a little bit that he might have something brewing here in terms of how the balance, the on-court balance, the way the offense is constructed, how they're getting back on defense, how they're setting up on defense in the half-court set, how they're maneuvering in and around when the ball goes up. These little things are all – these guys know what this stuff is. They played in the NBA. They've played their whole lives playing basketball. They know what this is. Now, whether you can coach it to others is always the question. There's a lot of people that have played the NBA that can't coach someone doing those things, or can't articulate it well enough or communicate it well enough to have everybody kind of on that page. But it looks like JJ Redick, at least in the first 3 games, I'm seeing there is some positives there. The only mistakes he's made is he's put in Bronny in the game. I believe if he hadn't put Bronny in any of these games, the Lakers might be 3-0 in the preseason.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for watching and listening. The Lakers do win 107-102. Joe, let's get to it. So the Lakers, I think, were down 89-75, if I'm not mistaken, because at the time it was a close game when Bronny came into the game, and immediately the game went south on the Lakers when Bronny came into the game. Now, mind you, it wasn't all his fault, but because for a period of time, he wasn't doing anything. He was invisible out there. If you go ahead and replay it out there, you see he did nothing at all to impact the game for quite a few minutes. And then he started trying to take shots, and of course, brick after brick after brick, and gave up a 3-pointer on the defensive end as well right after he bricked. So he was taken out of the game, and the Lakers were down double digits. And I'm going to give credit to this crew, Joe. These kids that came out there, Armel Traore, Colin Castleton, who was Jordan Goodwin at times, Quincy Olivari, Dalton Connect, and also Maxwell Lewis. We've been very hard on Maxwell Lewis. This was his best performance of the entire summer, as far as it's concerned. Your thoughts on the kids that came out there, especially the amazing breakout performance for Quincy Olivari?
I'm not going to say breakout. I'm not going to say that we have a new bench guy. This is just one piece, one game that you've seen
against other reserves.
Maxwell Lewis, by far, this is his best game as a pro. I'm not gonna get a roster spot ready for them unless the Lakers take number 9 out. Then I'd be like, I'd rather risk giving these guys a shot than him. Yeah, it was good for tonight. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep this in a consistent manner. I don't know. We'll wait and see. I'll leave it.
But it doesn't seem like an accident when you're number 9. I'll just call it Bronny James. I'm sorry, that number 9 deal. You can have, if you don't want to say his name, he who should not be named. You can go ahead with that game. But Bronny James came in the game. It was a close game. The Lakers were only down by 3. He comes out of the game, I think down by 14, 15 points. It's not an accident, Joe, that this happens. You have the wrong players in the game at the wrong time, Joe, and you can get really hurt by
it. This is beyond wrong player. Typically, when you're playing basketball, no matter, or football or baseball, there might be a bad player. There might be a player that's struggling. There might be a player that's not performing, in a slump, over the hill, not living up to expectations, all those things. But every single one of those players in some way belonged where they are. They were great in college. They were great somewhere in Europe where they were scouted and they're good and they come in, or they played well and now are not playing well. They got paid and now are relaxed, or they're too old. All those guys in any sport belonged in the league in the end. But the Lakers have one guy on their roster that doesn't even belong in the NCAA. And that proof has been pretty evident the last 3 games. And I don't give a damn who you root for, how many jersey sales you have for this. It's a circus. You don't need a circus. You're the LA Lakers. You have more statues outside than people have championships. Like probably half the league if I did the numbers. The Lakers have more statues outside, not counting De La Hoya, not counting Dwayne Gretzky. I'm talking about Laker statues. Then some teams combined have titles. And you're sitting there telling me, well, they're going to sell jerseys of some schmuck who can't play. Why? Because he's the offspring of one of your players. That is the most disgusting comment and most insulting comment to the sport. And you're seeing the results. Stop telling me he's a project, please. When I hear that, it makes me cringe even more. He is not.
Stop telling us he's Lou Dort 2.0. Like,
and that is, I'd like to extend an apology to Lou Dort. Jesus Christ, what an insult to Lou Dort. We wanted to get Lou Dort on our team at one point. How are we going to get Lou Dort? Is there a way we can get him? And then you insult him like that? That's probably the most cruel comment I've heard so far about this whole situation. So this is the results coming at your face now. The Riddells, the bronzesexuals, the idiots that are going to buy number 9 jerseys. Go ahead and do what you want to do and say what you want to say. But you saw the last 3 games, and you definitely saw it tonight.
Well, Rodell agrees with you, Joe. Rodell,
how catastrophic. I know. I just saw him, so I just want to give him a little backhanded comment just because I.
Okay. Eddie P.O. says you're a hater.
Yeah, that's good.
Welcome, though, Eddie.
Very, very astute, very original. You want to perform in the NBA? You got to be good enough to perform. You ain't ready to perform? Sorry, bruh. You got to go. I don't care who your daddy is either.
Okay, Eddie, let me put it to you like this, because he says he's a work in progress until he proves he belongs or not. If he was, let's just say a exhibit, let's say he was Quincy Olivari, Joe, and he played like he did in summer league, and he played like he did so far in the preseason. Watching every single minute of every single game he has played so far this summer, would we have already said as a fan base, if his name was Quincy Olivari, as just an example, he would already be, why hasn't he been waived by the Lakers? You guys would already say, why is this guy even getting playing time? Isn't that correct, Joe? If his name was anything other than Bronny James.
We would know who he is.
Yeah.
And anyone who tells you that we're haters for it, you are delusional, and you need to go check in with a doctor and get real.
Now, Eddie, you were right there on Maxwell Lewis. He has been terribly inconsistent in his second year. He should have really
Stop comparing. Stop comparing other players to this discussion. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, the thing is with Maxwell Lewis, he should be at a different level in his second year. He should have had the summer that what Max Christie had the previous summer in his second summer, a really strong performance, but he didn't. He struggled. He didn't even get in the last preseason game, but today he showed that there may be something that can help him stay on this roster. He does have a guaranteed contract, so that will probably keep him on this roster. But as a player who might be able to help us win down the road, I don't know. That book is still out there, and I don't think it's going to get written for him. I think ultimately it's going to have to be somewhere else. Because, again, we got to put that caveat. They were playing against other reserves, third-teamers, G-Leaguers for the Milwaukee Bucks. But still, Maxwell Lewis did have maybe a performance that helps boost his confidence to get him to the point where he may actually be able to contribute sometime down the road for the Lakers, Joe. But again, I know it's the odds are long on that.
Okay, folks, I'm gonna put a little comparison here. I want you to turn your ears up, because this is what happens when you get into a discussion with someone. They start comparing shit to other shit. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. That's not going to win the discussion for you. And I know everybody rolls with it. I don't do that. Maxwell Lewis stinks. Jalen Hood-Schifino stinks. Bronny is less than those guys, but they all stink. It's just that Bronny's worse, and he's not a project. He is not an NBA player, and you're going to know one day for sure if you're really that dense. Now let's move up to someone like Max Christie. Max Christie, they want this guy to be good. He shows little hints of it, but little hints is not enough when the games matter. We're gonna see if the third year is going to be the difference. It's that simple. And I'm gonna say this again. If you have cable or satellite and have Sportsnet, they do the replay. Matter of fact, it might be replaying like in the next 30 minutes. I don't know. You really, 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 really need to see what we're talking about. Forget about what we're saying. Forget about what we're saying. All we're doing is announcing what we saw. You understand what I'm saying? What we saw. Not looking in the sky and going, who am I going to shit on today for no reason? We don't do that. This is what we see. See, observe, watch the game. Watch the Milwaukee game. If you can get online and download it for free, download it for free. And I want you to watch the fourth quarter. I want you to watch the difference when number 9 was in and when he got out, and calculate. And if you got to go back and watch the Phoenix game, go do that as well. If you want to go watch the Minnesota game, watch that, and you'll see something amazing. You'll see the same shit we saw tonight. The only difference is he didn't end the game. He ended the game in the other ones, and guess what happened, folks? This. What happened tonight? He was out. This. Do I really need to sign language for everyone? Do I really need to explain it like you're a 4-year-old? Results, folks. I know Empire Jeff cracks on me for that, but he's my boy. He can do that. That's what happens when you're boys. They crack on you. You know, real men. That's what we do. But the results confirm what we watch. So there's nothing you can do. You can come on here and you can call us haters and bigots and meanies and whatever the hell you want to call and interpret. It doesn't matter. It holds zero water. It's as empty as this cup. Because the results say and confirm what we say.
You've taken a new level to your rants. You're now using props. I like that.
It's important to have examples sometimes because I know that being in my industry, I always say this. If they had taught geometry just a couple times outside and used geometry in a real setting, let's say a lawn, you set up an area where there's a fountain, where there's a cylinder border. You measure the diameter, you subtract that area from, let's say, a rectangle. The square footage is going to be the length and the width, right? You multiply those two things, you get the diameter of that little cylinder border, you subtract that from the total. Guess what? That's geometry. And now you know the exact square footage of that area. And of course, you factor in multiplication and things like that you learn when you're in grade school. It's important for the future. It's important for those who have this program in your head that because people get criticized, and you might be right. I'm not on. I have a Twitter. I have social media. And I'll talk smack on Facebook because most of the people on there are my friends. That's usually who I talk smack to. But I don't go on Twitter and talk to strangers. Just once in a while, I might have a comment here and there. Instagram, a little bit here and there, not much. But in the end, folks, I am not part of that crowd. I am not going online and instigating things because I live a shitty life and I'm upset at myself and I'm just projecting to everyone because my life is miserable. I'm telling you right now, I care about this team as much as I've shit on it. And the reason why I've shit on it is because they have terribly constructed this team to win. And the only way they're going to bounce out of that is they're going to need some luck and they're going to need their stars to really step up as well as their role players. And they're still going to have to put some kind of addition of talent on this team before it's all said and done. The last thing this team needs is to be babysitters. The Lakers don't have time to be babysitters. There's no margin of error right now. So if you want to go buy his jerseys, you want to see him play, apparently he's going to probably be playing the G League. God help you, because he ain't going to play well there either. You watch. G League players can play. You don't believe me? Austin Reeves? Alex Caruso? Austin Reeves got a contract, not being drafted. Alex Caruso, a two-time defensive All-NBA player. Don't think it's going to be a cakewalk, bud. Sorry. You either perform or you don't. You don't perform, you got to get the fuck out of there. And if that hurts your feelings, you better go freaking work on your feelings, man, because they didn't do shit.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. The Lakers do win 107-102. First preseason of the year first preseason win of the year for the Los Angeles Lakers. Joe Sorrell from Simblades, SimBladesWithAY.com, and Ox1947 at LakersBall.com, along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching and listening. I don't want to make too much for one game, and it was against reserves, but a kid like Quincy Olivari, he's got an uphill climb, Joe. A real uphill climb trying to even make the roster. Most likely, he'll probably be sent to South Bay in the G League. He doesn't even have a two-way with the team right now, so most likely he'll just be doing South Bay. But for a kid like that, the Lakers bench unit was so behind him because the kid was playing with so much heart. This is his first opportunity and maybe his only opportunity. And dang, Joe, he sure played like it.
And who is this?
Olivari.
So
He
Olivari,
played like his life depended on it.
well, Olivari, what he benefited tonight in is he made shots that are kind of the first options in the NBA today. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to make those threes, and he was active. He made shots. He changed the tempo. He changed the culture of the game. As soon as number 9 got out, he took over and said, I'm gonna do my thing," and everybody else kind of fell in line and played really, really good defense with the help of Milwaukee, kind of making some bonehead plays too. But an opposing team making bonehead plays is one thing. Capitalizing on boneheaded plays is a sign of it's not greatness unless you're talking about like playoff contender, but it's a sign of high IQ. It's easy to say, "Oh well, they made mistakes." Yeah, but mistakes happen. They happen a lot in basketball for 82 games. Can you capitalize? And this bunch of rugrats capitalized, and that should be rewarded because they very well could have just missed these shots and sucked just as bad, but they didn't. They capitalized on almost every mistake Milwaukee made, and they got them fouling them in the end too. When they weren't making the shots, they were missing those chippies. They were still going after the ball and getting fouled towards the end. That was pretty much when you knew they were going to win the game because they were getting those little extra chances and getting fouled, and that usually frustrates the opponent because they're like, "We just made them miss 2 shots. They still got the 3rd rebound, and then on top of that, we fouled them, and now they're going to hit 2 free throws." And they did most of the time, and that can drain the mental part of a team. And the young bucks, a lot of these guys are trying to earn a spot in the NBA. Well, the stress of that can fluster them sometimes, and it did.
Yeah, they got easily overwhelmed once the Lakers started getting momentum with that 5 unit out there. And like you said, it was no accident that certain number 9 was taken out of the game. And each time in 3 games, the momentum swung as far as concerned when that happened, or the momentum swung against the Lakers when he was in the game, especially at the end of games. So, with that said, Joe, again, this is something we're going to continually see throughout the preseason. I have a feeling that you're going to see more and more of Bronny James, despite our, despite our misgivings, and despite what we continue to say, and despite what is continue to be seen out there on the court. It's just clear. It's evident. If his name wasn't Bronny James, you wouldn't even be talking about him as a guy who would be making the team, much less a G League team at this time. So it's really tough that we're wasting so much airspace on it, but we have to, Joe, because the media, it right now there's probably 3 or 4 articles coming up with how much did Bronny score in today's game. It's just still an emphasis for the media and will continue to be as such.
Here's the problem with that. First of all, preseason, obviously, no one cares. There's 3 more games of these. If they win another game, cool, okay. But they're not going to be able to do this in regular season. They're going to have their moment if they can get it in the Minnesota game. If the Lakers are blowing them out by 20, they're going to bring him in, and that'll be it. Whichever game he can come in and there's not a detriment to winning, they're gonna bring that guy in, and then that'll be it. If they want to waste a roster spot on this guy and have him just sit there all year, I'm telling you right now, as LeBron James is not Michael Jordan and he's not Kobe Bryant.
The first article seen is USA Today is how many points did Bronny James score tonight?
And by posting this, you're confirming the attention. You're wondering why I keep saying number 9. Stop saying his fucking name.
I'll say his name if I want to, man.
Yeah, he'll keep saying it. Well, they're going to keep putting these fucking articles out.
We have an audio audience as well that cannot always understand what you're saying and doing by calling it number 9.
No, they know who the hell I'm talking about. People aren't stupid here, unless they're new and they think I'm a hater.
Well, they just
seriously. I mean, come on, people. You got to be smart. You got to be smart a little bit. Stop giving this fucker attention. Otherwise, this is what we're going to deal with. He has no business on that bench. It's clear. It's been clear. I didn't need a preseason to know this. So we're going to see if this guy's going to be stuck at 12, 13, or 15. It's got to be 15, right? Is he going to be stuck at 15? What's going to happen is you're going to see, especially when things go wrong and you start hearing stupid shit, entitlement stuff like you saw today with Mr. James, Mr. Entitlement. What's going to happen when number 9 comes in a certain day and all of a sudden there's some perks that he gets during that have nothing to do with his pops? There's going to be guys in and around. They're going to start clicking and they're going to start complaining behind doors, and they're going to do what Jeannie does well, which is ghost everybody and just say things in private because she doesn't have the balls to say things to people's faces. She's a coward, just like Rob Pelinka is as well. Folks, it's not that difficult. Believe me. The human... I always laugh when people talk about books like 1984 and George Orwell and all this crap. Oh, they knew this. They find some video from the 60s about kids talking about how people are. Folks, human beings have never changed since Adam and Eve. The only thing that's changed is that you know more about it now because of technology and technology. Human behavior has never changed. So jealousy, resentment is coming if this bastard is on this team. It would be smart for the first time in a while if Rob sends him to the G League and just sits him there for the rest of the year. And then you'll really get a chance to see how much he's going to get destroyed by those guys. Every one of those guys that are going to play are going to rock that kid's world. You watch. They want to pay attention to it? Go ahead. I'm not, but you know it's going to come out. He's going to get dunked on. He's going to get facialed. All that stuff's going to happen, and that'll be the news. And then we'll be called haters of LeBron. We hate LeBron. Oh, you just don't like, you're jealous of LeBron. If God came down right now and said, switch to LeBron's body, you can have everything he has, I would gladly look at God and say, God, thank you for the offer, but no thank you. Now, no one will believe me. But for those who know me, know damn well I'm telling the truth.
Chris, it looks like Dalton has the green light from the staff. They just want him to get the reps, get the ups. That I know wasn't effective tonight on the shooting end, but 4 assists, 8 rebounds. He played passable defense. That's what we want him to do. So once he starts hitting those shots and finds a rhythm, I think he's going to be a big-time contributor for the Lakers. When it comes to Bronny, Darren had a good question. Christian Coloco's status is still uncertain. It's not been established by the league, or if it has, the Lakers have not yet made it a public reveal as of yet because of his blood clotting issue. Yet we have Bronny, who just had a major heart ailment, heart attack, almost this time last year. It was this time last year. And look at him now. So how does the league pass one guy and not pass the other is Darren's question. And you know what? I think it's a damn good one.
I thought you were going to talk about the Connect, and then you went right back to this fucking guy's stuff.
I will talk about Connect here, but I wanted to make sure Darren mentioned it in the chat. I'm helping out our chat.
Okay, all the more reason why this guy shouldn't be playing anyways. Don't play with that heart thing. It's dangerous. We don't even know why all of a sudden he has a heart problem. Where'd it come from? I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. What does he have high anxiety? Did he blow a gasket? I was a psychopath his age, and I never had as much as a kink in my heart. So what was it? Was it the pressure? Was it the attention that blew a gasket? Is it hereditary? I don't know. I don't know what happened there. You don't look sick to me. Usually when people have heart issues, there's something messed up. Something ain't working. So what was it? Was it really a heart ailment? Maybe, yeah, sure. That's what they said. But usually someone who blows a gasket that young, from my experience, especially athletes, something's wrong. Even Ronnie Turioff had an issue.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't remember Ronnie Turioff, he had to go get surgery, and Dr. Buss, God bless him, rest in peace, paid for the surgery. And
was it open heart?
Yes. Yes. But I don't know. I feel like there's a benignness about, and I know that's not a word, but there's a benignness about this whole situation with his heart. I'm never, anytime you hear something health-wise and then you all of a sudden you don't hear about it again, I always kind of weird. It was like, something that major? And all of a sudden everything's normal again. I'm like, what happened there? Makes you wonder. But Dalton Connect.
Yes. I was gonna get to that.
Dalton Connect his ceiling is a Bogdanovich and his floor is Sasha. He is by far and away an NBA player, and he will be in the NBA for a while if he stays healthy. But will he be Sasha or will he be a Bogdanovich? Is it Bohan or Bogan?
There's Bojan. It's
Bojan, right? I'm talking about the one in Atlanta. That is his ceiling. And if he can be that guy and a Laker, woo! Lakers got a good one. I'd be very happy with that.
And again, for me, what makes me happy about seeing what Dalton Connect could do is not just the fact that, okay, he didn't hit shots. That's it. It's what else you can do and provide for the team if you're not hitting your shots, right, Joe? If you're not hitting your shots, do something else that's going to help the team win games, and that's exactly what he did today, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Bojan or Bogdan, either one of those guys, I think he would have a very productive career. Either way, I'd be very happy. If we're talking about Bogdan, you're talking about a guy that was in the top 5 in the 6 men of the year, averages 15 points a game, shoots almost 40% for his career. I think one year he shot 44%, which is really a lot too, considering the teams he's been on. However, I don't know. I think he played a lot of games this year, but before then, I think he was up until I think his rookie year, he was, I think 50, 60 games, 40 games. What if Dalton could play 70 games a year, shoot 40% from 3, and have a nose for the ball like he's shown, he could start on a team with 2 superstars. Yeah. There's a very good chance he could be that guy.
He shoots for close to 40%, Joe. It just puts another good shooter out there.
Well, he's also athletic. He's an athletic guy too.
Yeah.
He's good. He is good, and the fact that they kind of made up for this pick from last year. If you wanted to go that route, I try to stick with this as much as I can. Last year, I know that everyone I'm not talking about the hindsight picks. No one thought Triple J or Plataevsky was going to be what they were. No one thought that. Maybe there were a few out there, but it wasn't mainstream. The irritation of last year's pick starts with the fact that they picked JHS and then not and then not, I guess, using the common sense of saying he was not the best player available at that point.
They should have used the same logic they did this year with that one guy that's falling down in the draft that was thought of much higher in the draft for most of the draft process. They should have used that process like they did last year with Cam Whitmore, Joe.
It should have been that NBA draft. It is, if you really need to learn, what do they say? If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. Portland, everyone on the planet knew Jordan was going to be was the best player after Hakeem Olajuwon. There was no argument there. The only issue at that time is everyone always thought that the big man was always going to rule, and no one saw a Jordan coming. No one saw a guard being dominant over a dominant center in any era. Even Clyde Frazier was quoted saying, you got to get the big man. You got to get the big man. And of course, Portland needed a big man because they already had Clyde Drexler. How different would Portland be in their franchise if they had just said, no. We're going to listen to Bobby Knight. Bobby Knight told them, well, we need a center, Bobby. We'll put him at center. And everyone was like, ha, ha, ha. Bobby Knight does not like anyone. I don't even think he liked Isaiah. But my God, every interview I've ever heard Bobby Knight talk about Jordan, he glows. It's the only time I've ever seen Bobby Knight glow in any setting in the history of his life is when the Jordan topic comes up. That has to tell you something. That's like how I tell you how if my wife gets angry, something's wrong. My wife doesn't get angry and like flustered. It's happened maybe twice in my life. And one of those times my friends were around and they're like, what the fuck just happened? Who pissed her off? Like they were ready to go eat somebody because they knew this lady does not get like that. I'm like, well, somebody fucked up. It's just, it's not. What's next here? What more can we say? I think we've stated the obvious at this point. Let's roll with the stuff that works. It's right there in front of you, folks, but you have to be able to interpret it better.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do win 107-102. Lakers are now 1-2 on the preseason. Again, some inspiring performances by some kids that may not even make the Lakers roster, which again, it's good to see, especially like I said, Olivari. Joe, this kid probably wasn't even thinking he was going to get any burn in the preseason. He did today, and he played like that. This was that one opportunity for him. And like you said, it may not be with the Lakers. It may be somewhere else. We're seeing Cole Swider get some burn in Indiana after jumping from the Lakers, being cut there, moving to Miami, and now with Indiana. I mean, it's just about finding that certain specific place in the league where they can go ahead and succeed. And I'm rooting for the kid. I'm rooting for Olivari. The whole Laker bench was so excited to see him come up with that outburst, and the entire I guess 5 players that were out there. The Lakers bench was the greatest thing to see today, including LeBron going crazy out there tonight, watching this team get back the lead and then ultimately leading them to victory.
And it's irritating to see LeBron so excited when after the debacle of him complaining about going to Milwaukee. I mean, he just looked like an ass to me, celebrating and happy and showboating. Bro, it's not always about you, dude. You act like you're about the group. You're not. You're about yourself. Look what happened today. Someone might have gotten a job today. You need to start opening up that. Everybody keeps telling me this fucking guy has a high IQ. He doesn't. He's a fucking idiot half the time. This right here should shut you up with this stuff for once. Somebody might have a career now because of this game. And you're getting paid $50 million a year from just from the NBA and probably another 50 from all your endorsements a year. And you don't want to go to Milwaukee and your Lear jets and all your special services. That's a if you don't want to do that shit, why don't you just go and retire then? Just stupid. It's stupid. And it's unfortunate, but winning helps ease the tension. I'm sorry, folks. I like to win. I'm addicted to winning. I'm addicted to winning so much. Preseason, playing cards, playing pickleball, playing golf, playing solitaire on the computer. I love to win. And it changes my mood. And it's the only time I can say that my mood is on a scale. And I don't like anyone messing that up when you don't have to. Bobby Knight said that because he just coached Jordan, watch him destroy a third of the NBA players in the world. Yeah, I mean, Michael, I love that story he tells about the screen. He couldn't tell Jordan I think he said Jordan played 9 minutes and had almost a triple-double, something like that. And he was trying to think about something at halftime to tell Jordan, hey, you're not setting screens right. And Jordan goes, well, coach, didn't you say that, I'm the fastest guy you've ever seen? He goes, what does that have to do with anything? He goes, well, maybe I'm setting them screens faster than you can see it. And anyone with that quick of a wit, I can only imagine what the response was. Oh, man, Michael Jordan. The difference between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant is Dean Smith. And of course, Jordan's hands.
So before we head on out, first things first, are you doing a nightcap later on tonight?
There's a possibility, I believe, yes.
Okay. I'll schedule 10 or 11.
10 works.
Okay. Maybe John can join you then. Maybe I will as well.
Sure.
So for you guys, you'll get a nightcap with Joe Soro tonight at 10 p.m. I'll schedule
That's
it
a
out
funny
there.
line, Darren, by the way. There, Diddy.
But hey, great to have you here, including our new subscriber, Johnny. Truly appreciate it.
Gustavo, that's a great question. I'm sorry, I can't have to answer these
Yeah,
questions.
this was from earlier. I put it up there right now. He did at the beginning of the show. Gustavo, if you're here, just want to let you know I didn't forget you, man.
Yeah, Gustavo,
for tomorrow's Dodgers game.
I think they need to have an opener and then pitch Yamamoto in the second inning. The Dodgers need to have zeros in the top of the first. The top of the first has been the bane of their existence in the last 3 playoff series. That team scores at the beginning and it just jacks up all the momentum. It's the hitters start to press. They got to get out of the first inning with no runs and then start Yamamoto in the second. That's what I would do. Start with a reliever in the first inning, and then hopefully the Dodgers get a run in the bottom of the first, and then throw in Yamamoto. Somebody made a good point today. What was it? Mad Dog Russo?
Yeah.
You just paid this guy $325 million, and you're not going to pitch him in a deciding game. That's a great point, Mad Dog. But the problem is he's had so many issues with the Padres, and he's had so many issues in the first inning, and Padres always pounce in the first inning. So it's like a potion of disaster.
The Dodgers have been beating him in their own game in the first 2 games. Last 2 games.
They did. It's just that I think Roberts, if they don't win this series, I think Roberts is going to kick himself for not playing Kike and Muncy instead of Freeman and Rojas. And I know it's not really anybody's fault. You always think of those things after, but if you had played the healthier guys in Game 3, this series would have been over.
So with that, it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. Once again, the Lakers do win. Preseason action to go 1-2, 107-102. Joe Soro will be back on about 90 minutes while we set up for that and also get everything downloaded for our audio listeners. Joe, again, another solid performance for the Lakers this time around. After a certain individual, number 9, he who should not be named, according to Harry Potter. Before we head on out, my friend, some final thoughts from you on today's game.
Final thought is win the game, win the game, win the game. And you won the game. Thank you. It was very entertaining too. I hope everyone learned some things tonight. Some of the new guys that came in here with the washed up, redundant dialogue. I hope I changed a little bit of your thinking in the right direction. It's just something that people need to be taught, I think, this late in the game. Your response to people's dialogue cannot be lazy and mundane. Calling somebody a hater whom you don't know, giving you facts behind their assessment is lazy. It's lazy talk. And I will call it out, and I'll help educate you a little bit because that's what the show's about. I've been watching this game a long time. I've played basketball my whole life. Yes, I've never played basketball in college or the pros, but I know the game. And I know talent. I know what I'm looking at. I saw the greatest players that have ever played sports for a very long time. I know what I'm looking at. And I would highly recommend you watch the show and educate yourself so that, I know I'm demonstrative and I know I'm aggressive. You don't need to be that. I'm not saying to be that. That's just my personality. And I also am a fighter in people who think that they are better than you. I've told you guys this. My 2 pet peeves in the world is time wasters and people who look down on people. I don't like that. You're not better than me. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care how famous you are. That means nothing to me. It means nothing to me. I can buy whatever I want right now, but I don't need to go buy a yacht. I don't need to go buy a 56,000 acre home. Is that your definition of, oh, well, he knows more than me? LeBron knows more about NBA basketball? Sure. Yeah, sure he does. Knows how to play it better. And there's I'm 1 of 100 there. Maybe not even 1, 0 compared to what he's done. But I will say this. When he acts like a petulant child, I'm going to call that out. And some of you should too. Stop kissing his ass.
We will see what happens for the rest of the preseason. But for now, the Lakers finally have a win under the belt. The first win of J.J. Redick's coaching career. Actually, you know what? I'll leave with that, Joe. Your thoughts on J.J. Redick and how he schemed the game. I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but for some that are just climbing on in, what were your thoughts on J.J. Redick before we head on out?
I've noticed that there is a massive improvement in definitely the when to put certain players in and when not to. I just can't. I don't know. I don't know how to assess the preseason yet. I have to see him in the regular season, but I never felt, barring number 9's things the last few games, and he kind of made up for that here. He didn't play him because he could have very easily played him, but it was so bad he couldn't. I bet you he probably felt bad for him, but it was bad in the last game. The Lakers should have won in the Phoenix game if they had not played him. So apparently J.J. Redick learned his lesson in that one and said, look, if this guy struggles, which he did greatly, I'm going to put some guys in here so that we can actually compete. And they did. And the Lakers were down 14. This was not a 3-4 point game. And then all of a sudden they started going on a run. Dude, they were down 14. They should have lost this game. So it goes to show you that he was able to rile up a little bit of talent, G League talent here, and they did. So good for J.J. Redick, and we'll see how this develops. We have to give J.J. Redick time. It's just that's just the way it is. The unfortunate thing is they're going to have to get lucky and win some games they probably wouldn't normally win so that they don't get themselves in a hole. That's what's bad about this is the hole. They always put themselves in a hole and then they have to go all out after the All-Star break and then they run out of gas during the playoffs.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Lakers do win 107-102. We'll be back in just a little under 90 minutes with the Nightcap with Joe Soro, maybe John Costa, maybe me. Who knows? I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I got the audio uploaded for all of our audio listeners. Joe will be back for you on YouTube. Once again, thank you so much to all of our members down below. We continually give you props out there throughout the entire show. You see it listed right there. If you want to become a member today and not only get a shout out as we see below, you're also going to go ahead and get emojis, badges, and little notes from us, including when we go on the air with a lot of our shows ahead of time before anyone else. Plus, you get a little inside stuff. Like, again, I've dropped my Mr. McMahon review on Netflix 48 hours before I debuted it anywhere else for our members. I put that there for them first and foremost. And for the past 3 days and more, I'll be dropping season predictions from our panelists and also some of our audience listeners as well. So yes, that'll be doing over the course of the next few days, but our members will be seeing that first, and you become a member today for just $2.99 a month indeed. Problem Child says, what questions would Joe ask to number 9?
What would I ask him?
Mm-hmm.
From a basketball standpoint or just in general? I would ask him what he's doing there. Did his pops make him go there? If we were sitting heart to heart, I go, did your pops make you do this and you're trying to appease him? I get it. Make Papa happy. But I would follow through with that where I would say you should have made your own decision on this. You should have stayed at USC and tried to build your career. Maybe you would have been something. Maybe you would have gotten through. I don't know. But you would have had a better chance having an NBA career, honing in on your skills with talent, a talent level that's not going to drown you. I'm just talking to Bron. I would just be talking to Bronny here. I wouldn't be talking about anything else. You should have stayed at USC. That's the comment after a question.
And with that, we will close it out for now. But again, join us here.
And his mother should have done that too. I would say his mother should have been that one that said that. No, I don't want him playing in the NBA. If he wants this to be a career, my interpretation is that he does not want to play in the NBA. I believe he did this just to have the notch under his belt, makes his dad happy, plays in the NBA, has a way to now say, hey, I played in the NBA, and then he's going to go right off into the sunset and do whatever it is that he does for a living. It's probably he never really probably wanted to play. It doesn't look like he really wants to play. There's no sense of urgency. There's no focus. It's the typical second generation, and I should say, I hate saying typical because you have so many really good second generation players that are really good. I mean, look at Kobe with Jelly Bean. Look at Marvin Harrison Jr. and the Matthews family and the Mannings. There's a lot of second generation players that end up being better than the first generation, but this is not one of them. It's not one of them, and it's one of the worst ones too. The worst ones because they circumvented the essence of sports and professionalism. They used their power to manipulate two morons with high positions. And one of those morons was bequeathed this team with no earning of this team. The only reason why she got the team is because her daddy owned it. And the only reason why Rob Pelinka has his job is because he knew Kobe Bryant. And you're seeing the after effects of that. You're seeing the results. of why it's bad to hire people that are not qualified or to bequeath anything to people who are not qualified.
So with that, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Once again, join us at 10 p.m. Pacific time for Joe's Nightcap. Lakers Nightcap with Joe Sorrell. Tune in for that. So for Joe Sorrell, aka Ox1947, LakersBall.com, and Simply with Y.com. It's me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this thing. We'll be back a little less than 90 minutes, having a drink, having a nightcap after a Lakers preseason victory right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.